Good afternoon, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Josh.
And welcome to the Rebel Files, your one-stop shop for everything Star Wars news, notes, wild speculations, and quarantine-ness.
Yeah. How's
We were just
everybody's weeks going?
Yeah. Great. It's really interesting to watch everybody's kind of reaction and how they're handling what's going on in the world right now. And we were just talking about we're not going to get political or anything, but just how some people are like, yeah, I get to stay home and I get to do all this stuff, and then people like me, where I'm like, I need to go out and have dinner someplace and stuff. And you work from home all the time, so
yeah. It's not too much different for me, unfortunately, except for the fact that, I like to have those reprieves where I can go out and see my friends and, run errands or things of that nature. No, you don't get any of that right now. So it's survival training at its best, kids. But you know what? It's for the right reasons. We need to be doing it, and we need to do it. Go indoors, stay in there. Let's take care of it and take care of our friends.
Yep. Part of my not going out and doing stuff is I went and got finally Jedi Fallen Order. This game is bitchin'. Holy cow.
And the story's good, too.
The story's cool, and I just got to, not to give spoilers or anything, but I just got to who the second sister is. And so I just got to that point, if you know what I'm talking about, who she is in the story and stuff. So that's where I just got to, and I've been really digging it. Like, I know you've already played it and beat it and everything, but I'm late to the party.
It's okay though. It's definitely one of those stories. I love the direction they took with it. I actually didn't mind it being as much of that parkour platformer as I thought I was going to. The story just, man, dude, the story was just phenomenal. It was way too short. So hopefully, and I'm gonna expect them to probably do a sequel to it.
Yeah, they've been talking about, the rumors going around as one of the things that's floating out there is they've been working on a sequel for it before it even came out. They had not much faith in it. And so we'll see what happens. The other thing I've been doing too is been watching the new season of Clone Wars, the final season. Let's talk about it for a minute. Not any spoilers or anything like that, but just how do you feel about what they've done so far?
I've enjoyed it. It hasn't quite been as climactic as I was really kind of hoping at the get-go. Right. That being stated, that's my only gripe with it. It's the final season. I always go into final seasons expecting a little bit more, a little more punch for the buck. Now, mind you, we know the end stories of a lot of these characters. Right. But there are some characters where we don't quite know the end stories for it. So they're definitely setting it up for the transitions into the movies where they should be. Overall, though, it's been thoroughly entertaining. It's been a lot of fun. It's great to actually have it back in rotation again as far as my watching. Right. Now we're getting into the second arc, and I'm excited for tomorrow's episode. So if you haven't watched it yet, check it out.
I'm looking forward to the next arc, and it feels like it's going to be incrementally more important as we go along, and so like the first arc, I'm glad they did it to tie up some loose ends from where we were at, and the first episode of the second arc was, so one of the things I just did is I just went back and re-listened to the Ashoka book this week, and it very much, it's not a spoiler. The second segment is all about Ashoka, and I feel like it's going to be the setup to get to that part,
exactly,
or at least certain parts of what happens early on in the book, and specifically the setup with the mall fight that happens in the beginning of the book. And so I'm feeling like that's going to be kind of a setup as we go forward, especially since you have the Siege of Mandalore going on and a lot of that stuff. So I've been okay with the first segment. I felt it really weird to start there, but then once they kind of wrapped that story up, I was pretty cool with it. And now we're into the Ahsoka stuff, which is what everybody wants, right?
Right. No, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, that was generally the tone watching the first episode of the Ahsoka arc, and I was like, okay, they're gonna basically take her journey from where she was up through potentially the whole Order 66, and then into the book, where for those of us who know the story for the book, that's where it was. But I agree with you. They're absolutely setting that up, and they're setting the kind of the tone for that shift into it.
I'm wondering if the last episode, they get to Order 66. Like that's.
Well, supposedly the series is actually supposed to overlap Order 66. So I don't know if so I don't know if it's going to be the final episode. I would assume Order 66 will probably see the final arc, and then probably the subsequent result of what happens with these characters post Order 66. It will be kind of the wrap up of the final.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. And I'm because we're talking about Ahsoka, we have to talk about what the rumor was going around last week. So I guess it's going to be the big topic for us to talk about today is Rosario Dawson. The rumor is she's going to be the live action Ahsoka going into season 2 of The Mandalorian. Now, Hollywood Reporter was the one that was kind of backing up the original story, saying, yes, this is what's actually going to happen. So I'm just finding, at first I was like, I don't know. I don't trust the site. But once the Hollywood Reporter came in and said, yep, this is what's going on. So here we go. Let's talk about the live actionness of having Ahsoka in Mandalorian, and then we can talk about who they cast. So what do you think? I guess spoilers for season 1 of The Mandalorian. If you haven't watched it,
you've had enough time.
You've had enough time. To be fair, if you're watching from overseas, it's just now getting to the UK, and they're dropping it slowly there. So if you haven't watched, if you're in the States and have watched it, cool. If you haven't watched it, we're going to talk a lot about what happens in the season 1 of Mandalorian. So you've been warned. All right, let's talk about, is Ahsoka being in this going to be a one-off, like a one episode? Is it a reoccurring character throughout the season? Like, what do you think?
I think I would venture to say at the least we'll get maybe 1-2 episodes. I don't think she's going to be a recurring, season-long character. I think this was, they finished filming the majority of season 2 already. And then we get the / film kind of report that, okay, she's been cast. At what point are they going back and doing some fill-ins? Is this an adjustment that they're making because of some of the way some of the other stories are starting to play out in writing to bring her in?
I don't think so.
I don't think.
Yeah. No.
I don't think it's going to be fan service. I think she's going to have a specific role in it. And the reason they said is because Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Moff Gideon, basically came out and said he does have lightsaber battles in this season, essentially. And unless they're going to bring another Jedi in, that's
I would venture to say around right
he's going to tangle with Ahsoka. Now, that being stated, it might not be in the present course. They may cast Rosario, and this is huge speculation, but it is a possibility, so I'll just say that they may cast her as Ahsoka, get her in full makeup, and then de-age her slightly to put her at the Mandalorian siege, where Gideon was.
Right.
So she may appear more or less in a flashback. We're not necessarily sure how it's going to play out. Casting Rosario actually puts her, like she said, about 40s, which would be about the timeline. So I think we're going to get her for at least an episode. I think we might get her for 2, but I don't think she's going to be an extended character.
I as much as I want her to be an extended character, this is not the show I want her in. I'm okay if they do. They set it up this episode, this 1 episode or 2 episode arc, as a backdoor pilot to go forward. And I feel like it's, with everything that's gone on in the world here in the last few weeks and stuff, it almost feels like this was leaked on purpose to give some kind of positive energy going around, at least in the Star Wars fandom, and having Ahsoka as a live action character in a show that was pretty much universally loved by everyone was a little bit of positiveness that we actually needed. Now, I, I it there's no way if you have Ahsoka in this thing that the Darksaber doesn't come involved with Sabine. I was going to look up the wrestler's name. There was also rumor that one of the wrestlers from the WWE actually was also cast in the show, and she very much has the Sabine look. And as much as it would be cool to have the actual, voice actors of Ashley and everybody come in and do the show, it's never going to happen on a pretty regular basis, at least. But having the two known female, I'll say a known actress and a known pop. I don't know what wrestlers are. Are they pop culture icons? Are they
pop icon?
A pop icon, yeah. So having the two of them, but also both of them are very physical, to be able to do some of the stunts and fighting and stuff like that. That's what gets me excited. I do think that it is just like I wanted to be a backdoor pilot, but I really just think it's like with Bill Burr last season. He was in one episode. Now the rumor is he's going to be back for season 2, but there was a lot of people that were cast for bit parts in one episode because John and Dave and Tika and everybody brought their friends in to do one-off episodes. And so that's why I think with the Ahsoka, although I think it's a huge deal in the grand scheme of things of the story for The Mandalorian season 2, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Right. And I mean, it's going to have to be a little bit, I don't want to call it a throwaway part, because I don't think they're going to treat her in a throwaway position. But no. The fact that you are introducing her in this time period really gets into a whole lot of, well, what happened before then with the whole quest for Ezra and Sabine and all that, and I don't know if they're going to allude to anything. I want to be pleasantly surprised. I would venture to say we'll get a passive reference to it. But yeah, I really don't think she's going to be a long-term character. They've got too much on the plate already with the storyline. I don't think they're going to get into anything too heavily, but I think it's not fan service, but I think they figured out a way to get her involved, to give some continuity there towards her past activities post, Return of the Jedi and everything else. So I don't know, and if they do that, if the quest for Ezra's already taken place by the time she arrives in this, if she's in the current timeline, not a past, shot to the past, then that establishes the timeline that her and Sabine were essentially looking for Ezra over the course of about 5 years or so. So, which is about 5 seasons.
That would be kind of cool. If they do this as a backdoor pilot, have this be like the center of that quest for Ezra and everything. It'd be really cool to do that. Let's talk about the actual casting. Now there was some hubbub when this was all announced that Rosario Dawson, her boyfriend, and their management have a lawsuit against her and everybody. I don't want to speak too much on that, but it is kind of hanging over this a little bit. But the big thing that's hanging over this is if you're not going to get Ashley Eckstein to be Ahsoka in live action, Rosario Dawson is the next viable person. But almost everyone wanted Ashley. And she's handled this decision just exactly like you think Ashley would. She's been gracious and understanding and disappointed. And she's also an actress, working voiceover actress, and she understands that sometimes decisions are made without without creators, okay. And I feel like maybe this one was one of those ones where, Dave fought, but if they're gonna, the upper management, someone in upper management wanted a more known person, and they picked Rosario. So what's your thought about them not going with Ashley but going with Rosario?
It's kind of rough. I was one of those people who, like you, who've always been in Ashley Eckstein's corner. She is Ahsoka, and she's already the voice of it. She's physical enough to do the role and everything else. She's so short. And I think one of the scenarios that they probably, and I don't want to speculate, I would venture to state that their only reason for shifting the casting away from Ashley would simply be due to presence on screen, with the fact that Ahsoka at this point is older. She has some more height on her at this point. She's grown a bit more. She's in her middle-aged years. And I think they really kind of went with the fact that even though Ashley would be ideal for it, Ashley still looks very, very young. While you can change certain things with makeup and everything else, they may have just wanted somebody else who could pass the role as being an older representation of her. And I've seen enough concept art out there of older Ahsoka where Rosario could pull it off very well.
The Boss Logic one is really cool. That's my favorite one. Was with her with the hood on and everything. I listened to Force Center this week, and they talked about this quite a bit because really it's the only news story going on right now. But they both are kind of torn like we are, and I think that's a lot of the fan base right now. Not torn in a bad way. There's a lot of dissension within the ranks of the Star Wars community right now because of everything with Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi and Kathleen Kennedy and all that stuff. And that's not what this is. This is more of everyone within the Star Wars community loves Ashley, loves Ahsoka. They want this character to be out there, but I think for the most part, it seems like a lot of the fandom understands this decision. And I think it helped a little bit too that Ashley came out and was like, it sucks, but I'm happy for Rosario, and so that's kind of leading from example kind of thing. And I just it's cool and disappointing and awesome and all at the same time. So
it really boils down to one of those. I'd almost have to reserve my final judgment until I see the treatment, until I see how they did it. Because now, that being stated, if they go with Rosario in an older state, Disney can absolutely make it up to us by putting Ashley in a younger Ahsoka live action or something, like maybe about the time of the book or something after that. You guys could do that; it'd be great. But I think it really just had to do kind of with on-screen presence. Can Rosario act? Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Can she
might be
have
even
the physicality
a better
on
actress
screen?
than Ashley.
And she might. We've seen Ashley in person. We've seen Ashley in her voice acting role. It might have just been a combination of. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I mean, I loved Rosario as an actress for a long time. So I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. Again, disappointed it wasn't Ashley, but at the same point, I'll reserve judgment until the very end. I'm still stoked that we're getting Ahsoka.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the stuff that they've been kind of, with the setup with what they did with the child, Sweet Baby Kevin, and the Darksaber, and if they continue with the kind of the spaghetti Western kind of feel, I'm really excited to see what they do going forward. Now, I would like the episodes to be. This is one of the complaints we had about the season 1 was the episodes seemed a little too short. I would like a little bit more exposition, a little bit more storytelling. You have 10 episodes, make them 40, 45 minutes instead of 28 minutes or 32 minutes. Like the last couple episodes were, I think, both in their 40, 50 minute range.
48 minute range or so.
Something
and I say,
like
what? There's no commercial break, so you know what? Just make it an hour-long episode. And they might have kept them a little short because it's kind of serialized, and they wanted to see how the response was going to be before they started investing more money. So we may see some longer episodes in season 2.
Yeah, and a lot of the episodes for the first season were it really was one 10-hour story or 8-hour story, and it was a lot of side missions to introduce elements to get to the big bad climax at the end of the show. And so you had to go on the Prison Break episode, and you had to do the Seven Samurai episode to kind of set up how we got certain characters and why the Mandalorian makes decisions that he does, and let's be honest, we got everything we wanted out of the season one. We got Mandos with jetpacks. We got the only thing we didn't get was Sabine and Ahsoka. And we're getting that apparently in season 2. At least as far as I know right now, they're saying October. That was before we got this world apocalyptic stay at your house kind of thing. So
yeah, there was a kick around. There was a kick around that they were talking about not too long ago where they might actually, depending on when they wrap it, actually up the release a little bit. So because of the midst of everything.
They wrapped like mid-February, 1st of February. Right. And so that's why I kind of have to giggle with some of this casting announcements. So Rosario Dawson's been cast, and they're done filming. They're done.
Yeah.
So they've been keeping a lot of stuff secret. They kept Sweet Baby Kevin super quiet until that first episode happened. And
even still, with all the post-production that they would have to do, the trick is they don't have to do as much post-production anymore,
right?
Outside of editing, because of how they're actually filming those episodes,
right?
Which is if nobody out there has actually gotten a chance to watch it's on, I think it's on YouTube now, the season 2 Mandalorian quote unquote trailer. It's actually behind the scenes of how they filmed Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And dude, that is cool to watch. That's like some movie making magic right there.
I guess we've kind of beat this one into a ground. Like without anything else really kind of anything official, it's kind of hard to sit here and say, well, we think it's going to be blah, 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 blah. But I want to talk about this for a little bit. The Rise of Skywalker digital edition, since we can't leave the house and go get it in hard copy, which I'm probably going to buy it in hard copy too. It'll be like $60 I spent.
I'm waiting for a DUI $400 super efficient Blu-ray set of every single movie on disc.
I've already asked. I've been told no. So
can imagine how that's my conversation will go to.
I did, however, pre-order the animated Sweet Baby Kevin. I did order one. It was like $50 or $55 with shipping. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm pre-ordering this. Now, I think it's December when they ship, but I don't care. I had to pre-order it.
Says me, who will probably be pre-ordering the Darth Revan lightsaber just because it's Revan's.
Right, because it's cool. But so I got the digital copy of Rise of Skywalker. Still love the movie. Love it more and more the more I learn about a lot of stuff. I'm actually gonna listen to the Rise of Skywalker novelization next. I wanted to do Ahsoka because of what's going on with Clone Wars, and then with the Mandalorian. But the really cool thing that came out of that is I got the bonus edition, and there's about an hour and a half long. What are they calling it? The journey of the saga journey or something. It's something like that. But it's an hour and a half long documentary that is the making of Rise of Skywalker, but also the journey of Star Wars, and the continuation of this saga over 40 plus years and everything. And it is bitchin'. I'm like, I want to go back and watch it right now because I don't want to watch the news. But the idea, like, just the stuff that they show is just Mark Hamill going in the props department and playing with some of the props, and they're talking to Anthony Daniels about a couple different times, like the first day on set in Tanzania, and then the last day on set in Jordan, and how they filmed a lot of the scenes, and they start at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, and they go all the way through the movie itself, and they add these different little anecdotes and storytelling points and that connect the whole saga together and the filming process. I just thought I love that stuff. So you have to get it. You have to. It's $20 on Amazon. Get on that.
I have a small it's funny because I've got like every other one of them in a digital copy. I might as well just get the digital version. But I've been kind of holding out for that big Blu-ray box set.
I was too, and then I got the prequels and the original series all on Blu-ray in one box set at Zia, and then I finally got Rogue One on Blu-ray. I've been like piecing it together as I go along. I have the Family Guy trilogy too, not on Blu-ray, just regular DVD. And the holiday special. What else do I have over there? I have a bunch of stuff. I might have some bootleg copies. Yeah, I might have some bootleg copies from Comic-Con. Anything else Star Wars? It's kind of weird with news, with where we're sitting right now, and Star Wars show has been doing. They do one big monthly show, and then they do This Week in Star Wars, and they've been struggling to kind of talk about stuff. And so, is there anything else you want to talk about Star Wars-y wise while we got our time together?
Take your time. Read the books, kids. You got plenty of time.
That's a good point. The Ahsoka book is really good for what's going on. If you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't gotten into the books yet, I've been teaching a Padawan learner which books to go through and where to start and stuff like that. And she wanted to go back and start with some of the legend stuff, and I said, get comfortable with the new canon and then go back and kind of handpick certain ones, because it's the legend stuff kind of gets diluted and gets weird. Make it bunny rabbits. That's the comic. But the new books right now, there's a ton of good stuff with Project Luminous, now the High Republic coming. That's really exciting stuff that's coming forward. We just got the novelization of Rise of Skywalker. And so if you're looking for books to go read, there's really good stuff. Read the Aftermath series from Chuck Wendig. Go do Claudia Gray's got two awesome books. One is Lost Stars. It's a young adult book. And Leia, Princess of Alderaan. That's a really good book too. So there's just kind of give you some stuff to go read while you have time to go read right now. The Thrawn series is really good,
and even Tarkin.
Tarkin's really good. The thing about Thrawn is you kind of have to be somewhat well versed in the Star Wars universe before you can get to Thrawn.
That is true. That is a fact.
And he's very Sherlockian with stuff, so it's very much like a kind of a thing where you're like, it's. I think the Thrawn series. I don't know. Did you read the Thrawn series? Or did you listen to it?
I read it.
Okay, because I don't know if I could have read it with all the details and stuff like that what was going on with that book, but it was.
If you can read the Lord of the Rings in its original form, you can get through Thrawn.
With Tom Bombadil.
Right, yeah. If you can go through that, you can get through Thrawn. You're good.
I wonder if there's a bridge version of Lord of the Rings where they take out all the Tom Bombadil stuff.
The movie adaptation? That'll work.
They just add a little exposition to Treebeard. It makes it work. So that is our review of Lord of the Rings, book and movie version here on the Rebel Files. Janice and I did it on the other day going over. We were doing a review for something else and totally got off track on something. It's welcome to the show, guys. So that is our show this week on the Rebel Files, talking about Ahsoka and the Clone Wars and everything else that's going on. We will try to keep up on doing this, but like I said, with news hit and miss, so it might be every couple of weeks when we get together. And so please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, because we're still uploading stuff, and we're also on all the social media stuff: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of jazz. And until next time, I am one with the Force.
And wash your hands. Take care.